hand quilted my hot pad together. Now I am free to remove all my basting threads. This should be pretty easy to pull out. Alright, now it's just the nice quilting that we did. We're going to finish off the edges now. That's our next step. So I have 2.5 inch wide strip of fabric that's wide enough to go around the whole thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my strip. I'm going to fold it in half and press. Alright, my quilt binding is ready. Now I need to prepare my quilt. I am going to trim off my edges. So basically we just want to cut off the extra batting and backing so that everything is even with the front square. You can do this with a rotary cutter like I am, or you can use scissors. Alright, now it's time to attach our binding to the edges of our hot pad. So this is 2.5 inch wide binding that has been pressed in half. The raw edge is over here, the fold is over here. We are going to start and end right here in the center. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is 2.5 inch binding, so I am going to put a pin at the 2.5 inch mark. Okay. So I'm going to use that when we end. So I'm going to put my pin there in the center. And then I am actually going to start sewing closer to the corner to leave room for me to manipulate the binding when it's time to finish up at the end. Okay? So pin in the center, and then I'm going to start sewing down here, and I'll show you how to pivot around the corners. Okay? Alright, so I have my pin 2.5 inches here, pin in the center, and I have attached my walking foot because I have so many layers. I'm going to use my walking foot for this part, and I'm going to start sewing only about 1 inch from the end, and my walking foot, 1/4 inch on my walking foot is right about there for me. You'll have to measure what it is for you, but I'm going to sew forward until I'm about 1/4 inch away from the edge here. So I'll put that pin there to mark where to stop. Alright, I got to that point. I am going to backstitch. Backstitch. Pull out, lift my presser foot, pull out my work a little bit. Fold back the corner so that now this is a straight edge, okay? And then fold it that way, okay? So it's like this. We stopped 1/4 inch away, fold it back to make this a straight edge, and then fold it forward. You want this fold to meet up with this side and these raw edges to align here. Then we're going to turn our work. Then we can start sewing all the way at the fold back here, okay? I'm going to start a little bit in so I can backstitch and go forward. Sew all the way down the line. Again, I'm going to sticking a pin about 1/4 inch away. That's where I want to stop. Back stitch, pull it out, fold it, fold it, put it under the foot again, back stitch, let's get my pin again. Back stitch. Take it out. Fold it. And fold it. We're back to the first side again, so I am only going to stitch about an inch or so down before I back stitch. I'm going to pull it out. Alright, let's see what we got. So we have attached our binding all the way around except for basically this side. So now what we're going to do, we're going to fold this piece in, and we're going to lay this one over, see where it meets, and then we're actually going to cut this top piece where it meets. Okay, let me grab my scissors. Okay, cut. I didn't quite cut straight. Let me straighten this up. Okay, that's better. Now you can take that pin out, and what you're going to do is you're going to open this up and open this side up and lay them across like that. And I need a little more space. I'm gonna back this up, give myself a little more space. Okay, so I cut those. This is 2.5 inches long. Bring this to meet, or an 1/8 inch shorter is fine. Then we're gonna open up both of these, put right sides together, and then we're going to sew at a diagonal from this corner over to that corner. All right, so I am actually going to draw in a line so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to use a pencil. I'm going to get a 45-degree angle line here. We'll see if that's right. Yeah, that lines up pretty good. Put some pins in. All right, I'm gonna sew straight across that line. Okay. I'm going to cut across there at a 1/4 inch away from my seam line. Great. And if I can get my iron in there, I can press the seam open. If I can't, a little finger press will be fine. Fold it back in half as it was originally. And there you go, it should meet up pretty well. I need to pull it a little bit tight, but that's pretty good. So now I'm gonna go back and finish sewing that side. And if anything like this happens to you, just take out that section there and fix it. Alright, so our binding is attached. The next thing we're going to do is turn the binding, fold the binding around to the back side. So you're going to fold it up and over like that. You can pin it in place with pins, or if you happen to have any handy clips, you can clip it into place. Either one is fine, but you're basically going to just turn it over and pin. Like that. When you get to the corners, you'll see that it does like an angle thing. You want that, and you want to turn it back like that, and hopefully that corner will meet up like that. Let's pin that into place. There we go. And just tuck this edge down in there. When you get to the corner, just turn it out. So that's pinned, and it looks pretty even all the way around, and also from the front side looks pretty even all the way around. That's good. Now we need to get our thread and sew the binding to the back side. Now, what color thread are you going to use for this? When you sew a binding to the backing, you want to match your thread color to the binding, not the backing. Even though these are very different colors, the thread is mainly going to be going through your binding, and it will hide better in your binding and not really show up on your backing. So I found a yellow that we can use, and let's slip stitch our binding to our backing. All right, so we're going to slip stitch our binding to our backing, and let's start in a corner. I am going to move that pin a little bit out of the way. I want to hide my knot and my thread tail, so I'm going to tuck my thread inside here, come out at that fold, and I can just tack this in place, tack this corner into place. All right, now the basic idea is for slip stitch, you're going to put your needle into that fold. See how it's in the fold? You're going to slip it through the fold, that's the first step, and then you're going to pick up a couple stitches from the back, from the backing fabric. It does not go around to the front. And then we do that again. Take your pins out as they get in your way. So I'm going to come straight across here, get my needle in between that fold, and then go straight across, pick up a little bit of the backing. See, my stitching is pretty much invisible, so that's how you want it to be. So we're going to do that all the way around, and then we're done. All right, so I'm in the middle of going around. I had to start a new thread, so I was just going to show you how I was going to hide my tail. You can just open this up, put your thread inside, needle inside, and poke your needle out where you want it to be. Voila, it is hidden. And we just keep going. All right, when I get to the corner, I do like to connect these two fabrics together. So come up through that fold and connect it over to make sure that corner is nice and snug together like that. I usually do maybe 2 stitches right there. And then I'll come up on the back from the backing where I want it to be, and keep going.